Welcome, Charlie here. We're going to talk about AMC and GME, the rise and fall again. So, obviously, the stocks had a very good week this week. Hopefully, there was some opportunity for everyone to make some money out there. Obviously, there was to the upside. I personally was patient and waited till today to enter into the puts for both of these tickers because the only reason these stocks ran in the first place this week is due to the bullish or, quote, bullish macroeconomic news that came out of the FOMC on Wednesday. And of course, the fact that we were in a short settlement window and both of these tickers did have a decent amount of short interest going into this week that would allow for a nice upsized movement, which is exactly what happened. Now, the problem with this is that this is the part where everyone wants to keep the charade going. Everyone wants to claim that there's billions and billions of naked shorts, that there's synthetics being traded back and forth every day, that we own the float, which none of the data out there that's clearly available to the public represents any of these claims as being true. So we're going to just discuss a few things. And again, if you can't handle some of these blatant facts being presented here, then markets probably aren't for you. Because if you haven't noticed, hard-earned money is involved here. And you could be 15 or 16 years old, of course, using someone else's money doing this. But I would hope most people are using their own capital to trade with. And if that's the case, you probably want to put it in a place, or at least keep it away from a place that operates off of virtue signaling and just purely inaccurate information. So markets don't operate off of hope and desire. Markets work a very specific way, and all of the information you need to learn about markets is readily available to you online. It's all about where you choose to spend your time. First, let's get into AMC. So this is the era of the OG apes. This is when most people started to hear about AMC and got into AMC way back in late 2020 and early January of 2021. This is when the very beginning of all this basically started. It's when all the YouTubers came out of the woodwork that were suddenly market experts all of a sudden. But this is basically the beginning. Then you had the new age apes who came into the scene after the mid of the year run, shorts covering. That was the cause of this run in the middle of 2021. And we had a bunch of people come in then because, of course, Wall Street and the news media and the YouTubers helped lure in a bunch of new people after the run because this wasn't good enough. They were saying that it's going to go to 500, 1,000, 2,000, which obviously that will never happen. Now, again, I myself also believed in everything in here that I'm talking about. The point in time where I stopped buying all this nonsense was right here. Right here. Around May 4th of 2021, when Adam Aaron came out and basically postponed the critical shareholder meeting where we actually did have enough people to account for the entire float. But instead, what he chose to do was postpone that meeting, throw out the votes, which basically took out 280 million or so votes from February when all of the OG apes were accumulating for the next run. Yeah, he decided to throw those out and postpone the meeting for the sole purpose of giving Wall Street a way out. Because if he would not have done that, this would have came sooner and it would have been much bigger. I'll give you that. But the fact that he gave them a way out allowed them to delay it a few more months. And then we saw a giant rocket, at which point new apes were lured in to this whole fiasco. Since then, the price has done nothing but trend down overall, with some nice playable opportunities in the middle. And I've played basically every single one of these. But again, you can't hold these things as more than what they are. They're stock tickers. If you cared about the company as much as you say you do, you wouldn't be buying the stock as much as you do. You would buy the actual products that they are selling. Now, this is Generation 2 apes. The only other wave of influx of apes that I saw from data metrics online and Reddit and things like that came during the middle of 2022, right after March, in the beginning, basically the end of March of 2022. And, again, since then, it's done nothing but trend down. Now, the question is, why is that? Is it because magic? Is it because shorts are naked shorting billions and billions of shares? No, because there's no evidence of that. There's only claims and inaccurate videos that are tricking people into believing this stuff. Now, the problem with AMC and why the price has done nothing but go down: stock dilution from Adam Aaron. Call it what you want, say what it is, or however you feel about it. But at the end of the day, what it actually is, verified by corroborating evidence and just basic elementary understanding of stock markets, he's diluted the stock. And he started doing it in early January, late December 2020 and 2021. So again, he's been diluting the whole time. We started at January 22nd, 2021, 339 million. From there, less than 2 weeks later, we're up to 377.83. Then, a couple months later, we're up to 450. Then, come June, we're up to 501 million. And by the end of 2022, of course, we're sitting where we are now, around 516 or so. Again, that's a pretty big increase of shares outstanding. And on top of that, he throws APE into the mix, which are the preferred shared spinoff, which doesn't help the situation whatsoever. Now, again, there's people on Twitter that are claiming to say that dilution is not the problem. And these people also claim to have 25 years of experience. If that were true, first of all, they wouldn't even be interacting with people on Twitter that are buying and holding a stock purely based on sentiment value alone and how much are other people doing it, because that's not how stock markets operate. And people with that much experience would know this. So they're either purposely preying on naive people in the stock market to get them to believe this stuff even more because they come from an appeal to authority position. Like they go find basically a stock photo online of some dude in a suit, throw it on their profile picture, and call themselves Peter R. Han. I mean, how hard would that be to do? And then make claims all day, block anybody that disagrees with them, and then go down the road and, keep tricking the apes, for their own convenience. That's not reality, folks. And I think anyone with half a brain would understand that, unless you're under, 18, just maybe you're still young, you don't get it. But hopefully anybody that's outside of their mother's house or basement would understand that this is not how reality operates in this environment. So the reason AMC has done, the reason AMC has nothing done, the reason it's done nothing but decline since the shorts covered, and I know that stings a lot of you just hearing that, but that's what happened, and we're about to show you exactly why. It's because they're not making money. They are in a massive hole, and they're slowly working their way out, but they have a long way to go. And honestly, the approach Adam Aaron's taking by being this puppet showman on Twitter is kind of disgusting, because in reality, what is he actually doing for the company? Hoping that the next movie that comes out is a big hit? That doesn't sound like a good plan. But, I mean, they're on the right track, but there's a long way to go. The stock is not worth what everyone on Twitter thinks it's worth, because no one understands basic fundamental analysis of stocks, because no one's taking the time to learn, because everyone thinks it's a kumbaya. We're all going to get rich by not doing anything but jerking each other off online. Come on, that's not reality. Now, no amount of hype, no amount of hate, no amount of anger will change the face. See, I mean, I'm so retarded, I can't even edit these videos properly, but do I care? No, because I feel like the point of these and the message is that a lot of you get mad because you hear things about people or you assume things, but you're not hearing the overall message. I'm not trying to shit on anybody's parade. I'm just speaking facts here. And the fact that you're being taken advantage of by multiple avenues. You're literally a walking billboard for AMC. And what's in it for you? To sit here online with a bunch of other people who have no idea what's going on, because no one's taking the time to ask questions. That's all I'm trying to say. And nothing's going to change the fact, nothing, no amount of emotion or anger is going to change the fact that short squeezes, by definition, refers to the act of short sellers buying back shares they previously sold short in order to close their short positions. The following are some telltale signs of shorts covering. Number 1, price spike. When shorts begin to cover, the demand for a stock can increase, obviously, causing the price to spike upwards. Increased volume. Obviously, if you have shorts covering, there's going to be a massive influx of volume. Decreased short interest. If there's high short interest and then you have a short squeeze, one with 2 brain cells could assume that after the squeeze was over, and to corroborate the evidence of there being a squeeze, the short interest would have declined. And then number 4, a squeeze on top of all this, like if it actually squeezes on top of shorts covering, then the price goes up even further on even more volume, which is a telltale sign of a short squeeze. Well, that's exactly what fucking happened in May of 2021. The price spiked with the volume. The price spiked even further on, more shares than there are outstanding at this point in time. And then it goes even further on even more volume. That is the definition of a short squeeze. Despite what magicians on YouTube and Twitter like to pretend is real. This is reality. Nothing will change that. And by the way, the short interest also decreased by a significant amount following this run. So again, the fact that people argue this is pretty concerning, and they result to violence, hate, name calling, like we're all children and can't come to the fact of realization that this is simple stuff that they teach in elementary finance. So again, if you can't handle that, the markets probably aren't a good place for you to be spending your time, because you're going to be manipulated by people left and right. I mean, again, you just got to accept it, folks. I mean, I'm not here to piss on your parade. It's just facts. And anybody in the field would agree that that is the definition of a short squeeze. And that's exactly what we saw happen in May 2021 with AMC. That's why the price has not gone higher since then. Because Mr. Adam Aaron made sure that that didn't happen. Again, there's no magic in the stock markets. I don't care if 500 people disagree or 1,000 people disagree. It doesn't matter how many people, how many likes or views someone has. If they're wrong, they're wrong. That's why this whole social media system is broken, because it's all a popularity contest. It doesn't matter if what one dude said with 5 views, because the dude with 40,000 views has more views. So whatever he says must be right. No, that's not how it works. Now let's talk about GME. And honestly, AMC folks have more going for them than GME. GME people are just lost at this point. I'm honestly thinking that they're just majority bots. But let's get into it. So obviously the shorts covered in January of 2021 in GME's case, in part, not fully, but in part. This is when we had, literally a billion volume, when the shares outstanding was significantly lower than AMC's at this time. And again, as going off of the previous definition and examples of short squeezes, it's the same thing, using the same definition, because it doesn't change. We had extreme volume. The prices spiked. The short interest was at 200% at this time. Price spiked even further on even more volume. Then it spiked even further on even more volume. Then what happened? A couple months later, same thing happened again. We had 2 more subsequent runs where the same thing happened. And then guess what else? The short interest dropped significantly during this period of time. So again, this is the definition of shorts covering. Now, let's just talk about DRS as a bonus, because I honestly don't get this. Everybody claims DRS is going to be the answer to MOAS, because somehow you're taking your shares out of the DTCC and having them quote in your name is going to be the key beneficial factor that's going to cause this squeeze. First of all, without even taking into the risks of doing this, that people just completely ignored, I just have one question. I'm only going to bring up this one question about DRS. Why are you thinking it's working if the price has done literally nothing but go down since DRS started? That is how delusional some of these people have become. And it's honestly sad because, again, you're saying something's going to cause a massive short squeeze, but the price has only gone down since that period of time. I mean, I don't know about you, but I believe anybody with common sense, at least common sense not blinded by virtue signaling MOAS apes, would see that. That's all I have to say about DRS. It's working, yet the price has done nothing but go down. Why? Because GME's not making any money, just like AMC. There's supply chain issues. Ryan Cohen even wrote a letter to GameStop way back in the day in 2020, disclosing that the gaming industry would not likely see its true potential until late 2023, which we're not there yet. But again, everyone wants to ignore these facts and shoot the messenger. But again, if I cared about views, why would I be telling you all of this and not just going along with the MOAS narrative? Because that's clearly what gets the views, and it's clearly what people want to hear. Well, I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the reality of a situation, and that's what it is. The reality is, no matter how you feel, there is no magic in stock markets. None. Zero. There's only understanding or lack thereof, and it's up to you to determine how much of each of those categories you're going to fall into. Just think critically, people. Some of this stuff is really getting out of hand, honestly. There is no magic MOAS. MOAS was a phrase coined by NASDAQ in 2013. There have been several MOASs. You got to just think critically. Stop taking people at their word online who clearly don't care about you or your time or what they're telling you or the effect that something that they may tell you have on your finances or things like that. They don't care. They just want the views. They want the likes. That's why they ask you for them. Have I ever asked you for likes and subs? No. I prefer it if you unliked and unsubscribed. That would be actually what I would prefer. But yeah, just think critically, peeps. And that's basically all I have to say. If you want to change your life, work for it. It's not going to be handed to you. Since when does that happen? Never. If that's what the generations that are growing up now think, holy fuck, we're screwed. Anyways, I'm gay.